So children, I'm going to tell you a story about Hachnasat orchim, about someone who always invited people to come to his house. His name was Rebbe Eliezer, and his wife was Sarah, and they were very special. Oh, Eliezer, we should always invite people to our house, no matter what. I don't care if they're very, very poor, if they may be not so special. We should always invite everyone into our house. I agree, Sarah. Let's always bring people to our house. In all their life, Eliezer and Sarah invited people to their house. If they saw a poor man outside, Eliezer would go running and would say, come. You can come to my house to eat the Shabbat meal. Oh, thank you so much. I was so hungry. I had nothing to eat all day. Oh, don't worry. My wife Sarah cooked a very nice meal. Come. And Eliezer would invite everybody to their house. Everybody knew that Eliezer and Sarah were so nice. They were very, very old. Eliezer was 100 and Sarah was 90. And they still didn't have any children. And Hashem decided He's going to test them. And He sent a very special malach Eliyahu Hanavi. A special malach, a special angel came. But he didn't look like Eliyahu Hanavi. You know what he did? He dressed up very simple Jew. It was really Eliyahu Hanavi. But he dressed up like a simple Jew. And he was all bandaged. And he was carrying a sack and his walking stick. And it was Shabbat afternoon. And where they lived, they didn't have an Eruv. You know, we live in Great Neck, children. Here where we live on Shabbat, you're allowed to carry because there's an Eruv. So you can put the baby in the stroller and push it. But where Rabbi Eliezer lived in Mezhibush, there was no Eruv. You couldn't carry on Shabbat. And Hashem sent Eliyahu Hanavi on Shabbat afternoon, Shabbat morning. I know it was a test. Well, he was really a malach, so he could really carry. But nobody knew that. He looked like a regular person. Who was it really? It was really Eliyahu Hanavi, our special angel who's going to come to our house on Pesach. But he didn't look like Eliyahu Hanavi at all. He looked like a poor, simple peasant. He had like a very crumpled kippah on his head, yarmulke, and he had a walking stick and a bag. And on Shabbat, he came carrying, and he walked into shul on Shabbat, carrying. And everybody thought, oh, he's carrying on Shabbat. He's not keeping Shabbat proper. And nobody wanted to come near him. All the other Jews went away from him. I didn't bring so many puppets. All the other Jews went away from him and said, oh, he's not good. He's carrying. He's not being nice on Shabbat. And he had a terrible, terrible smell. All his boo-boos had pus on them and goo, and they didn't smell good. They had a terrible smell, and nobody wanted to sit near him. I'm not going near him. And when he came out of shul, all the Jewish women who usually would invite people, they saw him. And they said, oh, he's carrying on Shabbat. There's no Eruv in Mezhibush. Why is he carrying on Shabbat? And he smells so bad. Not going to bring him to my house. And everybody ran away from him. Nobody would invite the simple peasant who was really Eliyahu Hanavi to their house. But you know what? Rabbi Eliezer saw him. And he said, Rabbi Yid, Jewish man, you must be so hungry. Do you have anywhere to eat? And he said, no, I just arrived in town. And everybody thought he just arrived in town and he's carrying his suitcase. Of course, he didn't have a suitcase. He had a sack. And his walking stick, he traveled on Shabbat. Wasn't allowed to do that. But Rabbi Eliezer didn't mind. And even though he smelled so bad, he said, come. You can come eat in my house. And he brought him to his house. And Sarah was so nice. She didn't say, oh, he smells so bad. She said, oh, come sit. You can eat the meal with us. And when he came at the meal, he wasn't being nice at all. You know what he did? He grabbed all the food for himself. And he needed to wipe his hands. And you know what he did? He found Rebbe Eliezer's nice clothing hanging on a hanger. And instead of wiping his hand on the towel, his hands were all dirty. He says, oh, good. And he wiped his hands on Rebbe Eliezer's beautiful clothing. And then he says, oh, my nose. I need to blow my nose. And he took Rebbe Eliezer's nice clothing and he blew his nose on Rebbe Eliezer. And all the other guests at the table were thinking, he's so horrible. Why doesn't Rebbe Eliezer throw him out of the house? And why doesn't Sarah throw him out of their house? He's smelling, he's making such a mess. But they didn't. They let him stay. And they said, not to worry. And when Shabbat finished, Sarah was so kind. She warmed up some water and she cleaned up. She washed his bandages and she washed all his bad boo-boos. And she took nice clean bandages and she fixed him up. And she said, oh, no problem. Let me help you. And even though he really smelled very much nice. Is that a real bandage? Yeah. And she took nice, new, clean bandages and she fixed him all up. And she said, here, I'll give you a bag of food to take with you. But he said, 1 minute. I want to tell something to you and your husband alone. And she called her husband. Rabbi Eliezer and Sarah were there. And he said, Eliezer, I want to tell you something. I'm not really a simple peasant. He said, no, I'm not. I was sent from Shamayim. Hashem sent me. I'm really Eliyahu Hanavi. And I came to test you to see if you'll throw me out of your house, even though I smelt and I didn't keep Shabbat properly. And I made a mess in your house. But you didn't throw me out. You were being so nice to me. So Hashem is going to give you a special boy. A little boy will be born to you. And this boy will grow up to be a great tzaddik. But Eliezer said, but I'm already 100. And my wife is already 90 years old. And Eliyahu Navi said, it doesn't matter. Hashem can do anything. Just like Avram Avinu and Sarah Imenu Ad Yitzchak Avinu, when they were 190, you and Sarah will have a baby. And true enough, a year later, children was born to them, a lovely little boy, and they named him Yisrael. And when even their father, Yisrael's daddy, was very old, I'm going to tell you guys one more quick story about Yisrael. And Yisrael Baal Shem Tov, children, it was very sad. When he was only 5 years old or even younger, both his father and his mother passed away. And he was an orphan. But when his daddy was very sick, his daddy told him, Yisrael, I want to tell you something. You must always have Avat Yisrael, always love every Jew. He said, I loved that Jew who came to my house, who smelt and looked terrible and made a mess and didn't seem very good at keeping mitzvot because he didn't keep Shabbat. He said, but I loved him and I invited him to my house. I had Avat Yisrael. And really, he was Eliyahu Hanavi. You too must love every Jew. Know that every Jew has a holy spark in them, which is a part of Hashem. Every Jew has a part of Hashem. And he told him, always love every Jew. And Israel said, yes, Daddy, I will. And he said, never be afraid of anyone or anything other than Hashem. Know that everything comes from Hashem, and Hashem is always everywhere, and Hashem never leaves you alone. And Israel said, yes, Daddy. And he kissed his daddy. But his daddy passed away. And Israel was all alone. He was a little orphan. And he used to like to go out to the forest to think about Hashem and learn Torah. And one day he was alone in the forest, and a big grizzly bear came. The bear went, roar! And you all go, roar! And he got so scared, and his heart started to pound. And he said, oh no, I'm so scared, I need to run. I'm petrified. But then he looked at the bear, and he said, I know, Bora didn't have a grizzly bear. Never mind, they used the teddy bear. You know what it is? Many times, children, people donate toys to our school. I want to explain to you something. Shh. People give us presents. They say, you know what? We don't use the teddy bear in our house anymore. My baby is big, doesn't want it anymore. 1 second. We're going to give it to the school. But do you notice we never give you the teddy bears in the classroom to play with? You know why? because teddy bears are not a kosher animal. And in our school, we have only kosher animals to play with. So I don't give you all the teddy bears. Actually, I have a whole bag full of teddy bears that people gave us. But I don't give it to our classrooms because the Lubavitcher Rebbe says that the Jewish children are holy and special and should only play with kosher animals. And they should play with not kosher animals so much. So, cow is kosher, right? A goat is kosher, right? Right. But you know what? I did save the teddy bear because sometimes I tell you a puppet story, and I need a teddy bear in the story. So if we're using it to learn a story, we can use a not kosher animal. Okay, ready? Take out the masking tape. Go, bzz, go, psh. No, again. A little bit more masking tape. Stick it tight. Good. Now you got masking tape on your mouth. And the story continues, children. And little Yisrael Baal Shem Tov was so scared of the teddy bear. Oh, that was the teddy bear, the real bear, a grizzly bear. And he wanted to run. And then he remembered 1 minute. My daddy taught me I should never be afraid of anything or anyone other than Hashem. And Hashem made this bear. And Hashem is right here with me. I won't run. I'll just stand still. And in his heart, he davened to Hashem. He said, Hashem, please save me from the bear. And he just stood there and he watched. And the bear just walked away and went away. And he didn't touch little Yisrael, even though he was only 5 years old, all alone in the forest. And he thanked Hashem and he said, thank you, Hashem, thank you. That I will always remember what my Abba taught me. That Hashem is always everywhere and we mustn't be afraid of anyone. And that we have to have Ahavat Yisrael, love every Jew. And the Baal Shem Tov grew up to be the great Rabbi Yisrael Baal Shem Tov and taught us Chassidut. He spread Chassidut to the whole world that teaches us to love every Jew, teach us Torah. And you know what? It also prepares the world for the coming of Mashiach. Your friends know to love a fellow Jew. Do you know that song? No? Oh, I thought maybe your mowers will teach you. So let's sing We Want Mashiach now. Am Yisrael have no fear, Mashiach be here this year. Am Yisrael have no fear, Mashiach will be here this year. We want Mashiach now, we want Mashiach now, we want Mashiach now. We don't want to wait. We want Mashiach now, we want Mashiach now. We want Mashiach now, we don't want to wait. Thank you so much, Yeladi.